Okay. So it's a very simple idea, inheritance. You can just observe this diagram and you will be able to get that clarity on inheritance. So if you observe the top most box says vehicle, and then you have wheeled vehicle and other type is the port. So as an example, again in wheeled vehicle, you can see that there are four-wheelers and two-wheelers. So like car, bicycle, and again under car you have IC engine and electric engine and things like that, right? So you can say that a car is a type of vehicle, right? A bicycle is also a type of vehicle. So it's a inheritance. I mean, there is a something which is common between all these things. All these things are actually vehicle. So there is a generic term, or there is a something which is common or generic among all these things, which is vehicle. And there are something which are particular, like this car, even though it's a car, this car is running on an IC engine, and there is another car which is running on an electric engine. So there is a difference. I mean, both are cars, but there are certain differences which are which make them different. So they share some common properties and they have some additional or different properties, right? So that is what is the idea about inheritance. So the point says concepts or features at higher levels are more generic, right? Features at higher levels are more generic. Whereas when you go lower the level, you'll have more details or more specific features that are particular to that particular instance or that particular class. So an IC engine or a car inherits some of the features from the top level, or what we call as the base level. And it has some additional features on its own. This is the idea of inheritance at a very broad sense. So what is the use of inheritance? So the idea is quite simple. So the point says inheritance is a way of creating a new class by starting with an existing class and adding new members. Clear? Inheritance is a way of creating a new class by starting with an existing class and adding new members. Members can be data, members can be function. Any type of members you can add. So that is like you create a suppose you create a vehicle class, and for a car class you add some more features, some more data members, so that it becomes a car class. But it might have some common features. As an example, common feature of any class, I mean of any vehicle, is year of manufacture. So any vehicle will have this year of manufacture, which is common, which is a common feature. So therefore, that you will be put in that this data, that is year of manufacture data, will be put in the common class, that is the base class. And rest of the details you will be putting it in the that particular car or that particular vehicle which you are trying to describe. Getting it? So inheritance allows a new class to be based on an existing class. So the same idea. The new class can inherit both data and function members from the class it is based on. So it will take or it will inherit all the data and the member functions of the base class. Apart from that, you can add more to it. That is the idea. You create from an existing class so that this new class you create will be having all the features of the existing class, plus you can add some more features from for the new class. This is the idea of inheritance. This is the terminology that we usually use, and most of the books will have all these three, or sometimes they will follow only one. So let us, because you will be referring to different books, so we will try to find out or read all the three terminologies and understand what they are equal to. So existing class is also called as base class. Alternate name to base class is parent class, super class. And the derived class or the new class which you derive is called the derived class. The alternate names for derived class is parent class and subclass. The names are quite self-explanatory: parent and child, base and derived, super and sub. So we will be mostly using base class and parent class. I mean, both of these two, child and derived, base and parent. So they are quite simple and easy to follow. New class can replace or extend the functionality of the existing class. New class can replace or extend the functionality of the existing class. That is what I told you. It can extend or replace. You can rewrite. Replace in the sense you can change or modify something which is existing in the base class. You can modify also. So we'll see that all that in the coming sessions. You just try to understand. You can replace or you can add or extend the functionality of the existing class. Inheritance models the is a relationship between classes. Clear, no? So you can say car is a vehicle. Agree? Boat is a vehicle. Bicycle is a vehicle. So is a relationship is what is used to model the inheritance. So another example, I mean, quite simple. So card or credit card. So you have a card and the common features may be card logo and owner's name. So those are the common features or the base class features. So Visa card is a card or is a credit card. So you can also observe that is a relationship here. And Visa may have its own hologram. MasterCard may have its own PIN. American Express may have some category. So some, features which are different from each other can be added here. Hologram or PIN of a category, whatever it is. But all cards will have logo and all cards will have owner's name. So all cards, that is a Visa card, MasterCard, American, whatever card is a card, is a credit card. So observe that is a relationship. So similarly, a few more examples you can look here. Examples are like student is the base class. You can read that. So derived class is undergraduate student and postgraduate student, UG student and PG student. They are the derived classes. Similarly, shape is a base class. Derived classes will be triangle, rectangle, circle, whatever you call. Similarly, loan. So you can easily follow this: loan, employee, accounts. So you can observe that most of the things that you observe in common, I mean, that are there in the real world, have this inheritance kind of a relationship, is a kind of a relationship. So by capturing this is a kind of a relationship in your programming model, you will be able to write programs in a better way, manage them in a better way, right? So you'll have a lot of advantages by using this inheritance idea, because most of the things in the real world are kind of a is a relationship, means they have that inheritance type of property. So that's the reason. Just to suppose if you take a banking kind of an example, so you have loan. I mean, so you can create a base class for loan, and then you can extend that for derived classes and all that. So it will make your banking software more easy to manage, more easy to code and etc. So by observing the practical uses, C++ has come up with this inheritance concept. So this was not there in your C language, right? So just a point of difference, that is inheritance and object composition. So what's the difference? So because we saw object composition in the previous class, so we will just try to differentiate or look at what is the difference. Object composition is like this. A data member of a class may itself be an object of another class. A data member of a class itself is an object of another class. Supports the modeling of has a relationship between classes, right? In the previous examples, I mean, in the previous class, you might have observed that we had a has a relationship. I'll show you with a few examples in the next slide. So same like structure within structures. So class inside a class. So inheritance is not class inside a class. Okay, remember that. Inheritance is not class inside a class. Object composition will be something like class inside a class, or a class has a class, another class. Like in this case, student info is the class name. I mean, there is a class called student info and it has some information of the student. And then there might be another class called student, and this class will have student info as a member. Observing that? So this is an example of object composition. Okay. This is an example of object composition. So we're trying to differentiate between inheritance and object composition. So in this case, what you can say is student has a student info class. Student, that is class student, has a student info class inside it. So it is a has a kind of a relation. Okay. Now coming back to inheritance, this is the syntax for deriving a class. So you can observe that class, then the name of the derived class, colon, access specifier, name of the base class, and then the definition of the class, of the derived class. Clear? Anyhow, we will see the examples. I mean, example of this syntax. Yeah, I'll show you the example just in the next this thing. Look at this diagram also. This is quite important diagram. I mean, particularly the arrow. Look at the diagram. So the arrow always comes from the derived class to the base class. Okay. So derived from. Derived class is, I mean, arrow actually gives you the information on the derived from. Suppose this is the child class, you can say child class is derived from parent class. Okay. That arrow is, the direction of the arrow is important. So existing class, base class base is a class existing. Then I will declare the derived class like this. Class, and the name of the class is also derived, colon base. So derived from base. And you write the details, the definition of the derived class. This is one example syntax or one example showing the declaration of a class, of a derived class. Okay, now coming to inheritance and accessibility. A class inherits the public behavior and data members. Public behavior in the sense method. You can see behavior is the alternate name is method, public method or public functions. A class inherits the public functions and public data members of another class, and it enhances it in some way. Second statement, inheritance does not mean inheriting access to another class private members. Observe the underlined words. Inheritance does not mean inheriting access to private members. Only public you can access. Now, let us see what does a child have. This is about the rights, that is accessibility or accessing rights. Now, what will the child class have? That is what data members, member functions, all that of the base class. So an object of the derived class or the child class has all members defined in child class, obviously, right? Because those are the things that are only in the child class. So they will be there. Then all members declared in the parent class. So they will be there. An object of the derived class can use. Look at the statement. Here it was has and here it is use. An object of the derived class can use. Can use what? All public members defined in the child class. Obviously, right? Because it's the property of the child class. Then all public members defined in the parent class. So the child class can use all public members defined in the parent class. Similarly, a derived class will have all members defined in the child class and all members declared in the parent class. So it looks simple. I mean, the sentences are quite simple, but they are having a lot of meaning. Please try to catch that. Anyhow, with examples, we will discuss these things, but just as a point, you try to observe those points. Okay, what a derived class does not inherit. It will not inherit base class constructors and destructors. It will not inherit base class constructor and destructors. It will not inherit base class assignment operator. And it will not inherit base class friend functions or even friend classes. It won't inherit. Okay. What a derived class can add. So derived class, that is the child class. In the child class, you can add new data members, you can add new member functions, and you can also overwrite existing ones. That is what I told. You can modify or create a new one. You can add new members or you can modify the existing ones. And you can add new constructors and new destructor. You can have new friends. Okay. So these are the, I mean, it's just like any other class. There is no restriction. Just like any other class, you can add new members, new data members, new member functions, constructors, destructor, friend functions. You can also inherit. From this class, you can also inherit. So just like any other class. Right. So the members, as an example, like one of the previous slide gave you the statement. Now in this example, we will try to understand the members. Look at the example code. I mean the class. So class parent, there is a parent class. There is a int called p in the parent. So p is written deliberately so that parent, it refers to parent. Similarly, child has the c. PF is parent function, CF is child function, right? So clearly there is inheritance here, child colon parent. So you are inheriting from the parent. This child is inheriting from the parent. Int c and void CF. There are two functions. Now let us see, if I declare a parent, what objects will the parent have? Can anyone tell me what objects the parent will have now if I declare a parent? Objects of the parent class?
So it will be P and function PF.
Yeah, correct. So it will be these two, P and PF. So they are the objects because there is nothing else the parent has. Now coming to objects of the child. So objects of the child, what are the objects of the child? CCF, C and the function CF, or both, that is P, PF, C, CF, everything? So it will be everything, that is because it has it is a derived class from the parent, so it will have P and void PF and C and void CF. So the objects will be these many. Getting it? Simple. So child has P and PF also.
Yes, sir.
Clear. Okay. Now coming to the class access specification. So in these examples, that is this and the previous, whatever examples that I took, I deliberately avoided the base class access specification. We did not discuss anything about base class access specification. Okay. So now we will be describing about or discussing about base class access specification. So as usual in C++, if you don't describe, if you don't specify access specification, by default it is private. So if you don't specify anything, by default it is private. Anything in the sense the class access specification, if you don't give, it is private only. So therefore the previous examples, all these were private. Okay. Now coming to this topic, class access specification determines how private, protected and public members of a base class are inherited by the derived class. So this base class access specification is also called as inheritance mode or class base class access modes. Inheritance mode or base class access modes. So if you have something as private in your base class, something as protected or public in the base class, what is its implication? That is, when I create a child object from the parent object, what is the implication? That is what we are now discussing. So C++ supports 3 inheritance modes: public inheritance, which you can write like this: class child : public parent. Protected inheritance, class child protected parent. Then the last is the private inheritance, class child private parent. So that these are the 3 different base class access specifications. So you are trying to specify how the parent is accessed from child. How the child is accessing the parent's members. That is the specification. How the child is accessing the parent's members. Is it public, protected or private, like that. So like this, you have a class child, public parent. So you're telling base access specification. Here, this public says base access specification. Then again, inside the class child, you have protected and public. You can even have a private. I have not shown that. Protected, public. So they are member access specification. So don't get confused. So just observe that base access specification is what you write here. Member access specification is what you write here. These two. Okay. So coming to the first one, that is base access specification. When you say as public, so what will happen? The implication of having public base access specification. So implication of that is the objects of the derived class can be treated as object of the base class. Object of the derived class can be treated as object of base class. Observe the statements. Object of the derived class can be treated as object of the base class. When you say protected, it is little more restrictive than public, but you will be able to access or the derived class will be accessible. The derived class can access some known details of the parents. Allows derived classes to know some of the details of parents. I'll show you with examples. Of course, you can even write codes. I have few exercise also on this. Private. So when you say the base access specification as private, it prevents objects of the derived class from being treated as objects of base class. Some more details on the private class members. So derived classes cannot access the private data of the base class. Derived classes cannot access the private data of the base. That is in general, right? That is what we saw. That derived classes cannot access the private data of the base class. But if I want to give access, partial access or little, this thing, then I go for protected mode. So that is what is this point about. So declaring methods and data of the base class as protected instead of private will allow derived classes to access them. Okay, the class member labeled protected is accessible to member functions of derived classes as well as to member functions of the same class. So protected members are not accessible from outside the class except in derived classes. Right? So until now we were mostly discussing about private and public. We never bothered about protected. So this protected concept comes only when you take up inheritance. So now this is very clear. You have something in protected area, but you want to give partial access, in the sense only the children can access that data or that member function, and you don't want to give it to anybody else. Means you don't want to make it public, but you cannot even put it as private. Then protected is another option. So by doing it as protected, at least the children can use them. That is the idea, or can access them. Okay. So you can observe that whatever we have discussed, the base class specification in this slide. So just observe this and read it. So base class members, you have three base class members, X, Y, and Z. One is protected, X is protected. Sorry, X is private, Y is protected, and Z is public. So you can observe that. So the same thing is there in all the three cases. Base class is like this. And if the derivation, that is, if the base access specification is private, then how the base class member appear in the derived class? So as X is private, X is inaccessible. Y is protected, but here Y becomes private. Z is public, whereas when it comes here, Z becomes private. Observing that? Similarly, when I say protected is the derivation, X is anyhow inaccessible. Protected becomes protected here also, and public became protected here. Then the last access specification, public. So here, as usual, private is inaccessible. Protected becomes protected, continues to be protected, and public is continuing to be public. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any questions or any points to discuss here?
No, sir.
Yeah. So was this all known, or it is something new?
So it was kind of a revision.
Oh, okay, good. Right. So this slide will give you the summary of the modes, whatever we just now discussed in the previous example. The same thing is written over here. So this is the access specifier. This is the base class members of different varieties. And what is the type in the derived class? And what about external access? So you can easily understand and read this. So you can observe that whatever you declare as private, means whatever data members or member functions that you declare as private will never be able to access from outside the class. Okay, so we will stop it here and we'll continue from this point in the next class onwards. And your quiz is scheduled at 9:15. So you can take that quiz at 9:15 now. So all of you attempt the quiz. It is at 9:15.